Welcome back for another FSD video. It's been a long time since I posted anything. I've been traveling for the last 3 weeks, so happy to be back home. Unfortunately, the weather here is super cold and now it is snowing. I'm going to pick my sister up at the airport here and figured it would be a good first time to record a drive with FSD 14.2.1, which my car got pretty much right away about a week or so ago. I just haven't been able to be home to drive and experience it so far. So I've been able to go for a few drives with it today, and it's been really, really good. I've really not had any issues, except for I did have a system error that I got on my very first drive within a mile. I thought maybe it was caused by a slide, but there was no slide. I went back and watched the footage that I had recorded and from my dash cam, and there was no slide. So it was just a kind of a passing error. Haven't seen that return yet at all. But anyways, let's go for a drive here in the snow and see how 14.2.1 handles it. So one behavior coming out of my garage now is the car will signal before it leaves the garage, which I thought was kind of interesting. And my wipers are already kicking in. So I did notice a passing alert about the front camera assembly. I looked at it with a flashlight and I didn't see any issues with it. But I have a request with Tesla service to just have them clean it just to make sure. So next week is when that happens. So the auto wipers might get a little annoying. I mean, it is snowing right now, so it's not the biggest deal, but just wanted to call that out in case you think the wiping is excessive. It could be because of that, but anyways. As you can see here, the roads here are all, completely snow covered. At least the side streets are. The main streets were plowed and clear. With the snow now, it's probably snowed a half inch, maybe an inch so far tonight. So there'll be a light dusting. Now, I do have all-season tires on the car right now. They got plenty of life left in them, but they're not the greatest. I actually have a set of winters coming that get installed next week as well. They're full winter tires, so they'll be a lot better, especially with all the driving I'm going to be doing. We're in the Midwest right now. We're set to get a lot of snow this winter, at least the upper Midwest. So I think it would be a worthy investment, but just wanted to note that in case we have any slides or anything like that. Obviously, I'm no stranger to winter driving. I've lived here my entire life, so ready to take over at a moment's notice, but I've never really ever had FSD put me in a situation where I've, felt like it was unrecoverable. Most of the times it was just, it gave up way too soon. So I'm very happy so far to see with version 14 that it is willing to slide a little bit. It even counter steers, as many people have called out, which is a new behavior. As a longtime Minnesotan driver, like, that is exactly what it needs to do. I think many human drivers that drive here every day in the winter don't understand the concept of counter steering when you have a slide. And I think that's where FSD is already probably more advanced, and probably at least 50 or 60% of the drivers here in Minnesota, which is pretty funny, but and it's only getting better. So but so far, like, not being able to see road lines, things like that, the car is doing a fantastic job of, mapping out the driving space and picking the correct path. And I've seen that now the last day or so I've been driving with this particular build. Now, I can't compare it to 14.2 because I never was able to drive with that build. But, I will be kind of keeping my comments and just based on what I experienced before with 14.1.3 and 1.4. But unfortunately with those builds, I never got to experience them in winter conditions, and so far vice versa with 14.2.1, I've only been able to experience in winter conditions. So we'll have to just kind of keep these variables in mind. One thing that many folks have called out that I want to make a comment on too is just the Nags now for the attention monitoring system. They're way more relaxed, and that has been a huge quality of life improvement. I still check the road. I still pay attention, obviously. I'm not, treating it as if it's, a level 5 or level 4 autonomous system, at least yet. Especially in these conditions, right? I would rather be safe versus sorry there, but it's been really nice just driving around. If you got to respond to a message or something like that, not having to hide your phone or fumble with Siri, which she gets the request wrong 9 times out of 10, it seems like. So that's been a huge quality of life improvement, and I really am thankful for Tesla for doing that. I'm sure this is just the start of it, and as the system gets more competent, they will hopefully remove the Nags altogether here within the next year, which would be fantastic. But in the meantime, the current setup is pretty good. So. ETA is 8 minutes. And even though you cannot see a stop line here at all, the car did a great job of stopping on time. Sorry for the loud wipes there. The wiper is, maybe turn that off here in a second if it gets a little more annoying. Alright, so the car, I'm not sure what it's doing right now. I'm going to give it some space. Okay, I was going to take over if it got too close to that guy, but it's basically treating that dead space there. I'm going to report that, but it can't see the road markings right there, so that's the first issue I've had in terms of incorrectly driving in a spot where it shouldn't have been. That's dead space for parking there on the right up until maybe the last 100 feet or so before the intersection. And not sure if you noticed the wheel movement there, if you can see it, but the car did apply a little bit of counter steering there. We had a little bit of a rear slide as we applied accelerator there, but the car was super composed. It never felt squirrely at all. So very quick to react. I think anybody that drives with version 14 can say, without a doubt, it's one of the first things they notice is how fast the software can now react to what's going on around the vehicle and with the vehicle. So I'm just checking the parking. I'm going to pick the curbside option here. So now we need to go here. I'm not sure why the car was hesitating. This is a merge point. So that was not optimal there. I'm going to report that as well. But anyways, I picked the curbside option. We are picking people up at the departure side. It's not an option for MSP in the navigation right now, so that's something we're gonna have to deal with. The car is swerving quite a bit here. I don't know if you can see this on the wheel, but not great. It's kind of zigzagging almost. And that was super weird. Let's see if it does it up here in the snow again. As soon as we got to the snow-covered road, it stopped. So, another report there. I've not seen that before in version 14, but again, conditions are kind of unique, so who knows what it's seeing or not seeing that makes it do that. That zigzagging behavior back there too, I mean, had it been a little icier out, that would not be a good move there. At the least, it's confusing to people behind us, you know, so they're going to have to fix that in future builds here if we're going to get the snow performance up to a good human driver's, you know, standards. But and because it's a little slippery out too, the car doesn't seem to want to go above, you know, 55, which the speed limit's 60, which I am perfectly okay with, especially considering I am in the standard profile. And I selected the curbside option. It didn't let me pick it there before. I may have gotten distracted when it was trying to stop before we got on. Alright, let's see if it goes to the correct place here. So, I may have to take over if it doesn't pick arrivals. Again, like I'm not able to choose that as an option. Alright, that's a good start. You can kind of see some lane markings here, it looks like, which is interesting. My only question is it trying to read the parking signs here? Alright, looks like it's ignoring those. Alright, so we're going to have to stay to the right up here. Let's see what the car does. And if I have to disengage it here, I will definitely do so. But I'll let it go as far as I can let it here. Alright, so it looks like it's trying to fill the valet there. We're not going to cut that off. But as you can see, you know, to start off, pretty darn good around city streets where we kind of had issues getting on the freeway. And then, of course, here at the end, the navigation is still kind of a limiting factor, unfortunately. I would love for Tesla to update MSP to be able to do the pickups like this, because it would make my life a lot easier when family flies in. But anyways, thanks for watching. I will see you on the next one.